There's a kind of blindness that no eye can cure. It's not the blindness of darkness, it's the blindness of denial. You've met people who live in it every day. They say they want peace, but secretly chase chaos. They claim they're searching for truth, but build walls to never find it. And maybe, just maybe, you've done the same. What if I told you that almost everything holding you back in life isn't the world, isn't fate, isn't bad luck, but a silent lie your mind keeps whispering, and you believe it? Philosophers across centuries, from Socrates to Nietzsche, from Rumi to Jung, all warned of this invisible enemy. They called it self-deception. But the real question is, if you are the liar and the one being lied to, how can you ever wake up? Stay with me till the end, because once you understand what I'm about to show you, you'll never look in the mirror the same way again. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Story of Elias. Elias was a man everyone admired. Calm voice, sharp mind, gentle heart. He worked as a therapist, teaching others how to find themselves. But behind closed doors, his own life was collapsing. He couldn't sleep. He drank to silence the noise. And each morning he looked into the mirror and said, "I'm fine." One day during a retreat in the mountains, he met an old hermit who lived in silence for 40 years. The man asked him one question: "Who are you without your explanations?" Elias laughed. "I help people heal." The hermit smiled faintly. "That's what you do." I asked who you are. That question haunted him for months. He realized he'd built an identity out of ideals, not truth. He preached healing because he didn't want to confront his own wounds. He guided others into clarity to avoid facing his chaos. And for the first time, he saw the mirror crack. Self-deception doesn't announce itself. It hides in noble disguises: kindness, productivity, spirituality, even humility. It says, "You're helping people," while secretly whispering, so they'll never look too closely at you. Chapter 2. The Anatomy of a Lie. To understand self-deception, you must understand how the mind protects itself. Your brain has one primary job: to keep you comfortable. Not happy, not truthful, comfortable. When reality threatens your self-image, your mind quickly rewrites the script. It blurs your memory, distorts your motives, edits out guilt. You don't consciously lie. Your biology lies for you. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance, the mental pain that comes from holding two conflicting truths. And to avoid that pain, you unconsciously choose the version that flatters your ego. That's why people say things like, "I only shouted because I care. I cheated because I was lonely. I quit because the universe gave me a sign." Number. You shouted because you lost control. You cheated because you wanted pleasure more than loyalty. You quit because failure felt unbearable. But the truth feels like fire, and most people choose shade. Socrates said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." But the modern mind would rather scroll, distract, justify, anything but look. Because to examine your life is to die a little, to burn away illusions that once made you feel safe. Chapter 3. The Mirror Ritual. There's a story from an ancient monastery in Tibet. Whenever a monk reached enlightenment, he was taken to a hall of mirrors. There he had to sit for 3 days. No food, no speaking, just his reflection, multiplied endlessly around him. Why? Because enlightenment is useless if you cannot face your own reflection without flinching. When Elias learned this story, he began his own ritual. Every morning he stood in front of his bathroom mirror and asked one question: "What truth am I avoiding today?" At first, nothing came. Then, whispers: "I hate my job. I envy my clients' progress. I'm afraid of being ordinary." These weren't confessions, they were revelations. Each truth cut through the fog a little more. And the more he listened, the more he realized how much of his life was built to avoid discomfort. We all do this. We build identities not from truth, but from stories we can tolerate. You think you want success, but maybe you want validation. You think you want love, but maybe you want control. You think you want freedom, but maybe you fear responsibility. The mirror never lies, but we rarely dare to look long enough to see what's there. Chapter 4. The Philosophers Who Saw Through the Veil. Every great philosopher eventually confronts this same problem. How do you know when your own mind is lying to you? Socrates fought it through relentless questioning. He asked so deeply that others grew angry because exposing self-deception feels like an attack on identity. Nietzsche called it the will to ignorance. He said humans don't fear death. They fear the destruction of their comforting illusions. Rumi spoke of it as polishing the mirror of the heart. He said, "You wander from room to room hunting for the diamond necklace that is already around your neck. You're not lost. You're distracted by your own disguises." And Jung, he believed the shadow, all that you repress, is not your enemy. It's the other half of your soul. Until you make peace with it, you will spend your life projecting it onto others. Every time you say, "She's arrogant," "He's manipulative," "They're fake." Pause. You might be describing a disowned part of yourself. Chapter 5. The Inner Revolt. Elias decided to test himself. He recorded every justification he made in 1 week, every excuse, every blame, every denial. By day 3, his notebook looked like a crime scene. He realized his narrator, that inner voice explaining everything, wasn't neutral. It was a defense attorney for his ego. It minimized his faults, magnified others' flaws, and wrapped it all in spiritual language. He began to notice something terrifying. His mind had become a master storyteller, and truth was its casualty. That's when the revolt began. Instead of silencing uncomfortable thoughts, he welcomed them. Instead of saying, "I didn't mean it," he said, "Yes, I did." And that's worth understanding. For the first time, his shame became a teacher. Every emotion he used to suppress became a signal pointing to a hidden truth. He stopped running, and slowly the mirror stopped distorting. Chapter 6. The Fractured Age. We live in an era that worships image over essence. Our technology has turned mirrors into screens, and our reflections into profiles. Every day, billions of people broadcast a carefully curated illusion of themselves, not to deceive others, but to keep the lie alive inside. We post motivational quotes while feeling empty. We share self-love while secretly craving validation. We say, "I'm healing," while refusing to forgive. This is not judgment, it's diagnosis. Because our generation's sickness is not ignorance, it's pretend awareness. We know all the terms, ego, shadow work, mindfulness, but knowledge has become the newest disguise for avoidance. We analyze instead of transform. We intellectualize instead of surrender. The ancient philosophers didn't want you to memorize wisdom. They wanted you to become it, to die to your illusions until only truth remains. Chapter 7. The Shattering. One night, Elias sat before his mirror again. He looked tired, not from lack of sleep, but from years of pretending. He whispered, "I'm afraid to be nothing." And the silence that followed felt infinite. He realized this was the root of every self-deception, the terror of being nothing. We lie to ourselves to feel significant, to belong, to matter. But the paradox is, only when you stop defending your false self do you discover the real one. The next morning, he wrote on his mirror, "Truth at any cost." It became his mantra. He lost some friends, he lost his job, but he gained peace, the kind that doesn't depend on applause. He finally saw that truth isn't found, it's uncovered, and every lie peeled away was just another layer of fear. Chapter 8. the practice that ends the lie. So, how do you practice this? The art of seeing yourself clearly. There are 3 steps, deceptively simple but brutally honest. 1. Witness the narrator. Every time your mind explains something, ask, who benefits from this explanation, truth or ego? Don't judge the answer, just observe. 2. Mirror dialogues. Spend 5 minutes each morning looking into your own eyes. Ask, what am I pretending not to know today? The first answer you hear is almost always a lie. Wait for the second one. 3. Shadow integration. Write down the traits you despise most in others. Then find one moment in your life where you did the same thing. Forgive that version of you, not to excuse it, but to dissolve its power. Do this for 30 days and you'll feel something shift. Not dramatic, not cinematic, just real. A quiet honesty that starts to live in your bones. Chapter 9. The Philosopher's Reward. In ancient Greece there was a saying, "Know thyself and you shall know the gods." They didn't mean it poetically. They meant, when you stop lying to yourself, you align with the structure of reality itself. You stop swimming against truth. Because truth is not moral, it's gravitational. You can resist it for a while, but eventually it pulls you back. Elias once asked the hermit again, "What happens when there are no more lies left?" The old man said, "Then you no longer look into the mirror. The mirror looks through you. It means your life becomes transparent to reality. No masks, no performance, just presence. And that is freedom. Not the freedom to do whatever you want, but the freedom from needing to deceive yourself ever again." Conclusion. Most people will live and die inside the prison of their own stories, but a few will dare to face the mirror and let it break them open. If you are one of them, you will lose illusions, yes, but you will gain something sacred in return. Clarity. And clarity is the beginning of real power, because when you finally stop lying to yourself, life stops lying to you too. So before you scroll away, ask yourself this one question, not tomorrow, not someday, now. What truth am I avoiding today? If this question haunts you, good. It means the mirror has already begun to work.